Welcome back to Glimpses Astrology. Today we're going to be going over rising sign, or as some people call it, the ascendant. In Sanskrit, the original name is called Lagna, L-A-G-N-A. There was someone in the comments that wanted me to go over particular signs in the first house, which creates the rising sign. But before we go over ascendants and rising signs and different placements in the first house, we need to first understand what is the Lagna in the first place. So the Lagna always exists in the first house. In the North Indian chart, you may see a screenshot here, there is a first house. In the first house out of the 12 houses, that is where the Lagna always exists. Now, the Lagna ultimately in Sanskrit has many different definitions. But one of the common definitions is that which came with you while landing in this body. It is also known as a union. So basically the karmas that you came together in this body that you're in now, and the karma that you're here expressing in this life. Now, your Lagna, first you need to understand on a logical level, what is the ascendant, what is the rising, and how is it created? How do you get it? So you have the east and you have the west. In the east, the sun rises, and in the west, the sun sets. When the sun is rising in the east, whenever there are something rising in the east, that is where the zodiac signs are rising from. They are rising from the east. At that moment that you're born, whatever sign that is rising in the east, that becomes your rising sign or ascendant. That's the reason why it has that name. Rising sign or ascendant, something that's going up. Now, one of the things that I look at when I'm looking into your first house is it's showing me the way you tend to think. But it also is showing us, based on that sign that you have in that first house, it is showing me the different kind of places, events, and experience that you tend to attract in your life. This is what I call themes, different themes that are happening throughout your life that you are experiencing. And this goes the same for every single house that you have in your chart. So like in your second house, it's showing us your bank balance. There's a theme there based on the zodiac sign that's there. If you had the 10th house, the kind of karma that you're here to fulfill in society, there's a reoccurring theme that's happening there, etc., etc. So now that we got the initial stage out the way of how the rising sign and ascendant is created, you need to understand the importance of why you have that ascendant or rising sign. An ascendant or rising sign, a lot of times I've seen, is that thing that you desired, that at that moment when you're leaving the previous body, there was a flash throughout your life of things that you didn't get to do, of things that you felt like, I wish I paid more attention to that or took more time to do this or that. Hey guys, one of the things I quickly wanted to mention in this part of the video that I kind of skipped over a little bit, when it comes to the ascendant, when it comes to the rising sign and it's showing us what kind of desire you had in the previous life when your life is flashing before your eyes, whatever you were missing in the previous life that you feel like you were missing or that you wish you were doing. So let's say you were really focused on work, right? That would be the opposite of Libra, which would be Capricorn. This is like a very beautiful, simple example. But again, it's going to be different for everyone. But I've seen this with some people where if they were really focused on business and work or things like this in the previous life, when their life is flashing before their eyes, they end up feeling like, oh my gosh, I didn't spend enough time with my family. I wish I spent more time with the kids. I wish I spent more time with my wife, things like this. And that's where they end up getting sometimes Libra Ascendant. Again, I said it's surface level. So there are many other things about Libra that I didn't cover, or the Ascendant. But just for the sake of this example, they would have ended up having the Libra Ascendant. Because Libra, as I told you, they're trying to balance every single area of their life. So they're trying to balance out work, life, family balance, time with the kids, time, it ends up becoming more focused about other people. Because what did I say? Libra is from the 7th house, which is the house about other people. So they're no longer fixated on their goals so much or about themselves. They become a bit more selfless, okay? And you need to understand this from a whole entire chart concept, because Libra is in the 7th house. If you look in the first house, right across from it is Aries. It's like the epitome, like the first thing of ego, right? Of self is the first house. Self is you. And that is where the king exists. The king, not that the king there are very benevolent kings, but usually the king, the whole kingdom have to prioritize the king. The king even has to think about himself, right? Prioritize himself. Make sure the king is good, because if the ruler is, shit out of luck, then the whole entire kingdom is shit out of luck. So the first house is more egocentric, thinking about myself itself. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually really healthy. It becomes part of your soul destiny, which ultimately is responsibly seen based on where your sun is located in your chart. But this is showing us that there is a part of you that feels like, I didn't pay much attention to these things, or I would have liked to achieve or to pay attention to some of these things. Therefore, it ends up becoming your ascendant. So for example, if we have a Libra ascendant, this person is going to feel like unless they are in a relationship, they do not feel complete. They always need to be in a relationship. And because it's in their first house, the first house is your what? Not only your body, but it is also your head. So it's showing us how you tend to think. Because of this, it is showing that you have some innate ability or understanding already about how relationships work, because it is there in your first house, in your head. So for you, it's really easy for you to understand relationships, whereas other people may need to go through a lot of trials and tribulations, or maybe they learn their relationships through their father, their mother, through work, whatever the case may be, through traveling. You have an innate ability already of understanding how relationships operate, how relationships exist. And thus, just by you interacting with other people and just existing alone, your maturity, your understanding of relationships over time develops quicker and more than other people. But of course, this is like a very surface level idea of what's happening when it comes to a person having a Libra ascendant. Another thing about a Libra ascendant is that in Sanskrit, the original name of Libra is Tula. Okay. And Libra is the balancer, right? Check and balances, you can say. And as you can see this as, for example, Libra is from the seventh house. Seventh house is what? The house is of many things, as I always say. All these things have many different meanings, but the video would be too long if I was to go over all the meanings of one thing. But seventh house is all about other people. Okay. What are one of the things that involves other people? Import and export. Because it's importing and exporting different cultures to different parts of civilization for people to get a taste of the different cultures that exist around the world. This doesn't only include spices, but it also includes, products and things that are made from other cultures. So ultimately, the environment of the seventh house is like a market, like the farmer's market, where you go there, you're negotiating prices, right? And one of the ways you negotiate prices and to be able to tell how much something costs at a farmer's market is what? They weigh the items, right? It's a scale, balancing. So Libra, a lot of it is about balancing. And so when you bring this up and down balancing factor into the first house is the house that is looking at all of the other houses, all of the 11 houses, and even upon itself. So all of the 12 houses constantly. And so when you have Libra ascendant, it is showing. This may end up becoming a video about Libra Ascendant, but this is an example to show you how in-depth it is, and not surface level like how Western astrology portrays it to be. Libra Ascendant people tend to have this notion of always trying to balance out everything in their life. Because it's always looking at all of the different houses, including itself, all the 12 houses, all the time, it's always trying to balance every single area of its life all the time. The contradiction, the very interesting, funny part is that because they're always trying to balance every single aspect of their life, they always seem to be balanced to other people. But in reality, because they're unbalanced and they're always trying to unbalance every aspect of their life, they appear balanced to other people. Getting it? So when it comes to the second house, they're always trying to balance their bank balance. When it comes to the first house, they're always balancing their mind, always balancing their health. There's always this up and down notion going on. When it comes to, let's say, the ninth house, they're always trying to balance out the relationship with their education. They're always trying to balance out their relationship with their father, with their family side, their father family side. Always trying to balance things out in their relationships because things always seems to be unbalanced for them. Okay, so this is just one example, right? Without even touching about like, okay, yeah, Libra is in the first house, but then that means that Scorpio is in the second house. What does that mean? It means that Sagittarius is in the third house. What does that mean? Right. All this information just from one sign being in one house. I told you a small fraction of what that means. This is the reading. This is the reason why the readings take, the first level 1, where we're going over the foundation, life foundation, going over each house without even touching planets and without even touching nakshatra, star constellations. It takes 1 hour minimum. So understanding that the rising sign is created in the east based on the sign that's rising at the time that you were born. It is the karma and that which is attached to you at the time that you were born. What came down with you, a union, right? What came down with you at the time that you were landing in this body. And it is showing us the theme. It's showing us what do you tend to think about. So for a Libra Ascendant, for example, they tend to think about relationships a lot. They can't almost exist without a relationship. Now, this can change. This can vary because there are some people where there are certain placements in their chart that's going to make them not want to get into a relationship. Okay? So take this with a grain of salt because you may have a placement like that. You may be feeling like, oh, maybe you know what your chart is and maybe it's accurate that you are a Libra and then you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, I feel complete already. I don't need to be in a relationship. Well, for one, we don't know if you have an accurate chart because you could be using free softwares. And for two, we don't know if there are certain placements that are restricting you from having a relationship. That can express in 2 different ways. One can be you having a hard time getting a relationship. And the second part could be just making you not interested in having a relationship and ending the family lineage, your bloodline. Okay. But on a basic level, this is a basic understanding of what rising sign, ascendant, Lagna means. Okay. This is allowing us to understand the way you think, the different kind of themes, experiences, and places you attract in your life. Okay. It also shows us things about your body, etc. I hope you enjoyed the video. What do you want me to cover next? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next few videos. Maybe if you guys want to call dibs, if you for sure know which ascendant you have, you can comment it under the video, and whoever comments first, I'll go over that ascendant first. If I don't get any comments, then I'll go over Aries through Pisces in order. Okay. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.